Good day, everyone. This is Nerika Joy Bifolyara speaking, and our group will be discussing the continuation of sanitation in the workplace. But before that, I would like to help everyone recall the difference of sanitation from hygiene. Sanitation means the prevention of human contact with waste for hygienic purposes. It also means promoting health through the prevention of human contact with the hazards associated with the lack of healthy food, clean water, and healthful housing, the control of vectors, and a clean environment. It focuses on management of waste produced by human activities, while hygiene generally refers to the set of practices associated with the preservation of health and healthy living. The focus is mainly on personal hygiene that looks at cleanliness of the hair, body, hands, fingers, feet, and clothing, and menstrual hygiene.
T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Food service equipment includes all the machines, tools, and supplies needed to meet the demands of customers and fulfill the future needs. One of the most important things to consider when planning to purchase food service equipment is to determine the purpose of the project. There are types of food service equipment. Food service equipment is generally grouped by functionality or its purpose in the kitchen. These areas of functionality include receiving, dolly or hand truck, pad and pen, scale, thermometer, storage, shelf systems for dry goods and cleaning materials, can storage rack, refrigerator, freezer, production, mixer, food processor, cutting boards, knives, slicer, service, serving ladles and spoons, coffee dishes, hot water baths, ice maker, dishwashing, 3-compartment sink, dish detergent.
Here's an example of process of selection. Mary Ann knows that her goal is to provide healthy, filling meals to students at a low cost. But she should also consider what her customers want. Would they prefer more hot beverage options, which would require a kettle or source of hot water, or would they enjoy more cold beverage options, which would require more refrigerator space? Conducting consumer surveys can help deduce customer preference and satisfaction scores. Surveys can also be conducted with current staff members to find ways to improve the current food service equipment. This is known as continuous quality improvement. As Mary Ann is in directional position and does not directly utilize the food service equipment, she should seek out the opinions of cooks who are using the equipment and can see its benefits or downfalls. Mary Ann should also consider ways to meet their expectations while staying within her budget. Would the cost of purchasing a grill be offset by an increase in the number of hamburger purchases? Flexibility should also be a consideration. In this case, flexibility refers to the level at which a piece of equipment can be stored or moved, used for various tasks, and can change with future needs. For example, a freestanding grill can easily be moved within the kitchen, can be used for grilling meats or vegetables, for outdoor events, and can be transferred to the other school as needed. Specifications of equipment. Specifications are descriptions of food service equipment and their engineering information, and they can be found in manufacturer catalogs and websites. Specifications can include various details such as model number, capacity, description of materials used and finishes, safety features, and measurement of dimensions.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Here are the list of must-do tasks to ensure that there are no surprises when it comes time to install your new equipment. Number 1. Early delivery. If the equipment has to be delivered to the restaurant prior to installation and by a third party, make sure that someone will be ready and properly equipped to receive the equipment. You should also make certain that a secure tagging is available, and you should check the packaging for any obvious signs of damage. Installation timing. Establish the amount of time required for installation and decide ahead of time on the date and time of day that will work best for you. Consider doing some preparation work ahead of time to ensure the installation is completed within the agreed time frame and the equipment is available for use when promised. Number 3. Building access. Is there easy access to the building in which the new piece of equipment is to be installed? Is the entrance door or delivery door large enough to accommodate the equipment that is being delivered? Will people have to either descend a stairway in order to get the equipment into the building? Is there a loading unloading dock available to help with handling? These are all issues and questions that have to be answered and are directly related to building access. Number 4. Dock truck lift gate requirements. Many pieces of equipment are sufficient weight that require a dock or truck lift gate in order for them to be removed from a delivery vehicle. A key component of efficient installation is to ensure that such logistic tools are available, or if they are not, then alternative arrangements need to be made. Number 5. Service elevator capacity. If the equipment that is to be installed has to be placed on an elevator in order to reach its final installation point, then you need to make sure that the elevator has sufficient capacity to handle the equipment that requires a measurement of elevator inside volume plus the size of the door opening, as well as the measurement of the equipment that is going to be placed in the elevator. Every elevator is licensed for a specific weight limit, so make sure you do not exceed that limit. Number 6. Door and hallway dimensions. If a new piece of equipment has to make its way through door and down a series of hallways before it reaches its final installation point, then it is important to make sure that the door openings and hallways are large enough so that the equipment can easily pass through them in the case of doors. Number 7. Old equipment is out. Make sure you remove the old items prior to the new equipment being delivered. If you know that the new equipment is going to be delayed, or if it comes into your facility damaged or missing parts, you may need to have the existing old equipment moved to one side but in a place where it can be easily reinstalled if these problems continue. Number 8. Utilities. Believe it or not, the wrong utility is the number one culprit for improperly operating equipment in the food service industry. Some things you need to be aware of with respect to utilities and new equipment installation include the following. Electrical equipment. Make sure that the voltage and phase of the equipment being delivered match that of the food service establishment. Ensure that the AMP requirements of the equipment being installed match that of the service that is in the building. Make sure the wiring and plug being supplied with the equipment is both long enough and compatible with the electrical outlet if a plug is being used. Gas equipment. Make sure that gas requirements of the equipment being delivered match that of the gas that is available at the facility. Make sure that there is sufficient gas pressure. Gas pressure, which equates to the volume of gas reaching the piece of equipment, will have a direct bearing on the effectiveness and efficiency of the equipment. Number 9. Water availability. Many pieces of equipment such as steamer, steam jacket, kettles, combi ovens, coffee urns, dishwashers, and the like requires water for their basic operation. A key component of any proper installation for these pieces of equipment is to ensure that there is a water source close to or preferably at the point of the equipment installation. Number 10. Water pressure, quantity, temperature, and quality of water. Having a water connection close to or at the point of the equipment installation is just one part of the water component. Ensure that there is a sufficient water pressure and a sufficient quantity of water available to meet the demands of certain types of equipment. Temperature may also be important, so decide ahead of time whether the equipment should be connected to the hot or cold water systems. Some equipments are connected to the hot water systems to reduce recovery times and speed up operation. Water quality is also important. In a hard water area with equipment like a steam kettle, a water softener may be required. Number 11. Hood depth. If the new piece of equipment is going to be installed under a hood, you need to make sure that the depth of the hood is adequate enough to properly accommodate the new piece of equipment. A minimum of 12 from the front edge of the cooking equipment to the front edge of the hood. Number 12. CFM requirements. When new and or additional pieces of equipment are added to an existing hood system, one needs to make sure that there is a sufficient airflow or CFMS through the hood to ensure the proper operation of the new piece of equipment as well as that of the original pieces of the equipment found under the hood. Failure to do so will often result in a rapid escalation of other closely related problems. 13. Mounting surface. Most pieces of equipment have to be installed on a level surface in order for them to work properly. If the new piece of equipment is installed on a table, then the problem does not normally manifest itself. If the new piece of equipment will be installed on the floor of a commercial kitchen, however, one has to make sure that it is done on a level surface or that the equipment has adjustable legs or feet so that it can be properly leveled. This problem is often found in a kitchen that has many floor drains, as the floor are designed and laid so that all water hitting the floor flows to these drains. Number 14. Drain requirements is closely related to the above point. Many pieces of equipment require a free-flowing drain in order for the equipment to perform properly. Number 15. Check manufacturer's specification sheet. Check the manufacturer's specification sheet for any special installation requirements that are being recommended or are required for proper installation. A spec sheet can generally be acquired through the manufacturer's website. Number 16. Completion of the warranty card. Find the manufacturer's warranty card and fill it out, or have the dealer help you fill it out, and then make sure that it gets returned to the manufacturer immediately. The equipment warranty is a big component of the total asset that has been purchased, and it should be treated. Number 17. Equipment demonstration and startup. If you are properly trained on how the equipment is to be used and cared for, then you should arrange to do a complete and thorough demonstration of the equipment for the customer and for those in operation who will be actually using that particular piece of equipment. If you are not completely familiar with its use, then make arrangements for a representative of the manufacturer to do a thorough demonstration at the earliest possible time. And if you need to use actual food product for the startup testing and demonstration, make sure you have made arrangements ahead of time to have an adequate supply of products available. Number 18. Packing materials. Finally, ensure that all construction debris and packing materials are disposed of properly and that any construction damage is repaired. Number 1. Work with professionals. Number 2. Define the scope of the project upfront. Number 3. Communicate openly and often. Number 4. Measure twice, install once. Number 5. Stick the schedule. Number 6. Have the right team in place. And number 7. Double check the work. Number 1. Work with the professionals. You might be tempted, especially if you're just ordering a replacement piece of restaurant equipment, to let your cousin or the neighbor down the street install it to save you some money. But if they don't do it right, your warranty will be voided and it will cost you a lot more in the long run to fix any problems. Number 2. Define the scope of the project up front. Spell out the details of the project for the equipment installer, both in terms of your objective and scope of the work. Discuss with the installer who will be responsible for what, so the project team on both sides can take ownership of the areas they oversee. Then, get it all in writing in a contract that makes clear what happens if things don't go as expected. Number 3. Communicate openly and often. Good communication is key to the success of any installation project, and it should start even before any agreements are signed. Ask a lot of questions of your food service equipment installer about how they intend to work with you on the project, and expect the installer to ask you even more questions about the project and your operation. Number 4. Measure twice, install once. If you're replacing a piece of restaurant kitchen equipment, your installer may be able to get all the information needed over the phone, but that will require you take accurate measurements of not only where the equipment goes, but of doors and hallways providing access to that spot. Larger projects, especially new construction, often involve mechanical drawings, and these should be provided to the installer. Just make sure you're sharing the most accurate and up-to-date versions of the drawings. Problems commonly occur when conflicting or outdated drawings are circulating. Installers also are likely to do site visits ahead of time if the job is complex. Number 5. Stick the schedule. With good communication, your project is more likely to stay on track. You'll want an installer who can help you stick to the schedule by letting you know ahead of time exactly what to expect and when. Number 6. Have the right team in place. On some projects, like installing replacement equipment, the team may be as small as an owner or operator. On larger projects, it might involve kitchen designers, equipment specifiers and purchasers, architects, project managers, and store managers. Make sure you have key stakeholders involved at all stages of the process. 7. Double check the work. The installer you choose also should be able and prepared to demonstrate the quality of the work done during equipment startup and demo. Equipment manufacturers or their representative often will take responsibility for these sessions with you and your staff, but in some cases, installers will conduct the equipment startup and even train the staff. In either event, installers should be on site during these sessions to help answer any questions you or your staff have about the installation and the operation of the equipment.
Good day, everyone. This is Narika Joy Befolior speaking, and I will be discussing the topic about FF&E related to installation. What is FF&E? FF&E is an abbreviation for furniture, fixtures, and equipment, sometimes also abbreviated as FFE. It basically refers to all movable furniture, fixtures, and/or equipment that isn't permanently affixed to the structure of a building. What does FF&E include? As a general rule, FF&E includes items that are easy to remove from the building that have a useful life of 1 year or more and aren't products that a business would typically sell. It is not practical to list everything that could be considered FF&E, but below are some common examples: furniture, electronic equipment, decorative items, lighting, and other equipment. Another phrase synonymously used when discussing FF&E logistics is OS&E. Operating supplies and equipment is primarily used within the hospitality industry. FF&E usually refers to items that must be unpacked, assembled, and placed, such as technology or lab equipment, stools, couches, conference tables, beds, dressers, and lamps. In contrast, OS&E are those items that are essential to make the space functional, such as towels, glassware, linens, trash bins and liners, coffee makers, and pillows. There's a common vision that's often used to describe FF&E and OS&E. Imagine that you were able to pick up a building, flip it upside down, and shake it. Everything falling out would be identified as FF&E or OS&E. FF&E installation takes careful planning. In your case, choosing an experienced installation team whose focus is FF&E installs will prove to be a vital tool to bring your hotel project to a successful completion. What is FF&E installation? It is a smooth, cost-saving end to a hotel project. If you've seen one hotel room, you've seen them all, right? Not necessarily. Completing an aesthetically pleasing, ergonomically designed layout for your guest comfort and convenience involves more than just placing a bed here and a dresser there. Here's how it works. Optimizing your space. Every inch matters a lot, and considering FF&E's two most easily overlooked components, fixtures and equipment,
Those inches come at a premium. The furniture must easily fit within and around the other must-haves in each room. Electrical outlets should be unblocked and accessible without unnecessary stooping or reaching by your guests and staff. A headboard shouldn't cover an outlet, but we've actually seen it happen because of poor planning. The same can be said for basically anything else from door handles to heat ducts. Following surveying plan and communications. Trained installers will be comfortable following plans, notes, and drawings that tie in some form back to your initial designs. But FF&D elements are not typically included in construction design blueprints. More often, they're expressed as a general idea for perspective and scale. So, a collaborative effort between your design team, furniture manufacturer, and install team needs to happen early on. Expert proactive communication can save your project in the end from a costly change order and ensures long-term success. Moving and assembling your products with care. Should you choose an FF&D installation team, you can trust its member to follow directives, pay attention to detail, efficiently unpack, assemble, and clean up, properly document, track, and report your furniture order. The heavy lifting of moving your products from A to B and then putting them together takes a special touch. You expect your guests to enjoy high-quality components that are free from nicks, scratches, and other blemishes incurred during transport and assembly. It may seem easy, but transferring orders from the delivery truck to the guest room is fraught with danger. Each stairwell, elevator, narrow hallway, and door frame is an obstacle capable of damaging your product. An experienced installation team will know how to safely maneuver heavy materials through tight spaces.
T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
The maintenance and replacement. Need for proper restaurant equipment care and maintenance. The most significant reasons as to why you must maintain your restaurant equipment are mentioned below. The first one, cost effective. Restaurant equipment is expensive, and so are the more significant repairs that are out of warranty. Minor faults and damages can be easily spotted and fixed when equipment is regularly maintained. Apart from that, poorly maintained equipment use more energy and will add to your energy bills. Regular maintenance increases equipment life, so the cost of having to buy new equipment is also deferred. When even cost of food wastage is decreased as the scenario of wastage due to poor machine performance is eliminated. The second one is helps in maintaining the food quality. The state of your equipment directly impacts the state of your food. Remember, even if the chef cooking in your kitchen are the best of the best, if the tools that they use are faulty, there is only so much that they can do. On the other hand, if your equipment is well maintained, its performance will complement the chef and enable him or her to experiment, take risks, and create food that is leagues above other restaurants. The third one is help in maintaining the speed of operation. Depreciated equipment means slower preparation time, time-consuming work, and thus slow cooking and serving of food in the restaurant, which will make you lose both sales and customers. To ensure that this does not happen, you must make sure that all pieces of equipment that you have are in their best condition, which can be achieved only through regular maintenance. The fourth one is bigger monetary payback on the machine itself. A piece of equipment that is well maintained will fetch a better price when compared to a damaged piece of machinery. This can impact how expensive the net effect that the next equipment will be. The next one is increases the equipment life. When equipment is operated upon regularly, normal wear and tear is a given. Regular maintenance ensures that there is no extra damage, and apart from this, anticipated depreciation of the machine. When you maintain your equipment regularly, you can spot minor damages and get them fixed, which averts more significant, more hazardous damages and increases equipment life. The next is healthy and hygienic. Finally, restaurant equipment needs regular maintenance because it is a healthy habit. Proper equipment maintenance includes regular sanitation. This ensures that the hygiene of food and restaurant is not compromised. The next part is reduces fire hazard. Most fires in restaurant kitchens are caused due to equipment breakdown. Regular maintenance of kitchen equipment ensures that there is no risk of fire hazard. The next topic that I will discuss is restaurant equipment maintenance checklist. Here we have covered significant equipment maintenance practices in restaurants and some more tips regarding the same. The first one is vent, hood and duct cleaning. The vent, hood and duct must be cleaned regularly to remove grease from vapor from the structure. This cleanup must be done by a qualified contractor at least once every 6 months. The second one is grease filter cleaning. Grease filters collect grease from the vapors traveling to the duct. While they make duct cleaning more manageable, the filters needs to be cleaned regularly at least once a week and more often if the cooking in the kitchen involves more greasy food. The third one is deep fat fried inspection. This is the biggest fire hazard of any commercial kitchen. The fryer needs to be maintained and cleaned as per the manufacturer's guidance and must be at least cleaned daily. Moreover, you need to get the fryer inspected by a qualified commercial cooking equipment contractor at least 12 months prior to its use for 5 years. And the last one is automatic extinguishing system service. In the case of fire, your automatic extinguishing system must be ready to work. In an instant, for that to happen, you must get this system inspected by a qualified contractor at least once every 6 months.
When to replace food service equipment. Equipment replacement all comes down to age, price, and condition. Just like with cars, according to Dan Rees, Director of Training for the Commercial Food Equipment Service Association, I once owned a Corvette and loved driving it. But it got to the point where it was nickel and diming me and seemed to be constantly breaking, he says. Heavy equipment is the same way. At some point, you can no longer keep up with the repairs. Here are the several general considerations that Rees points out when dealing with equipment replacements. Replacing old equipment. Consideration 1. Safety. Safety should be the top priority when deciding whether to replace or repair a piece of equipment that has aged and continues to break down. Consideration 2. Escalating repair cost. If it's no longer cost effective to maintain and repair costs outweigh the current value, it's time for the equipment to go. Consideration 3. Parts availability. Some older equipment models are so outdated. It's a challenge to find replacement parts for them, says Reese. If you can't even get the parts anymore or the repair costs are so high because the model is challenging to fix, it might be time to replace that equipment, he says. Consideration 4. Major menu changes. Many operators, especially chains, will go through periods of major menu changes. That has a huge impact on the current equipment lineup and can influence decisions to invest in some new pieces. Consideration 5. Volume changes. Something as simple as business growth can influence equipment replacement considerations. A rise in sales volume at a location could introduce the need for 2 fryers or ranges instead of just one. Now that you've decided to replace the equipment, it's time to contend with a host of other considerations when purchasing new pieces. Purchasing new equipment. Consideration 1. Menu. Once the operator establishes the new menu, it becomes time to test some new equipment models for performance, speed, yield, heat recovery, and more. Consideration 2. Volume and projected growth. Just as business growth might impact an operator's decision to replace the equipment in the first place, it can impact the type of equipment chosen as the replacement. Reese recommends considering not just the current volume needs, but also projected year-over-year needs for up to 5 years or more. Consideration 3. Durability. Before purchasing new equipment, consider how long you might want to keep the model, Reese says. Consideration 4. New federal regulations and standards. The Department of Energy, EPA, and Energy Star have come out with a host of new regulations and standards for certain types of equipment, which can impact the models chosen to adhere to those goals. Consideration 5. Incentives and rebates. These days, utility companies offer more and more incentives, typically in the form of rebates, to entice food service operators to switch to more efficient food service equipment.